Hi, I'm Claire, and this is Read for Initiative, the D&D-inspired game that I use to pick my reading every month. If you've never seen one of these videos, the way it works is that I start by scoring how well I did at my reading in the previous month, and then I go on to roll some dice to pick how many books I'm going to read in the coming month and what those books will be. We've got character classes, we've got debuffs, we've got a random encounter tables full of reading prompts. It is a lot of good D&D fun. It is also very, very, very extra and very involved, and so this month I'm going to do a slightly lighter version. It's going to be a little bit more cobbled together than usual because my brain is all over the place right now. There's so many things going on. I have been in a massive reading slump for the last couple of months, which is why I didn't do a Read for Initiative video for June. I just need to get back into the rhythm of reading and break this reading slump. That's my main goal. I've tried to record this video twice already and I couldn't get my thoughts in the right order, and I kept forgetting what I'd already said or not, so it might be a bit of a mess. It might be a bit cobbled together. I'm sorry, that is not going to be the same level of nice and polished and organized as I normally have for these videos, but I would rather put something out than skip it for another month because I love doing this game. It's not going anywhere. I'm also going to definitely release the rules at some point. I'm going to do a video explaining all of it in a lot of detail. I didn't do that immediately in January when I came up with the game because I wanted to playtest it and to make some tweaks to it. It definitely needs some tweaks. I want to be able to offer people something nice and polished, which this video will not be. Sorry, this was a bit of a tangent, but this is just to say that I come to you not even knowing how many points I made in the last couple of months. I am going to put my point total on screen once I have calculated it. It's not going to be loads because I only count books that I have actually finished for my Read for Initiative points. Those would be The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin and The Last Emperor by John Scalzi, and both of those will be maybe 700 pages together or something like that. My point system is predicated on pages read, so that's the bulk of my points, and that's not even a level in itself. And then all of the stuff that I've got around that, like reading the number of books that the dice picked for me, and fulfilling my reading prompts, and not buying more books than I read off of my bookshelves, and reviewing things on NetGalley. All of those I have failed at this time around, so I'm going to be losing a bunch of points for that. I just don't think the point jump will be very significant. And also I want to know if people like it when I just say, hey, here's the amount of point that I've gained from reading a number of pages, and here's all the other bonuses lumped together, and I give you one number instead of going through every single thing, because I don't know if it's too much detail that I normally do, not enough detail. And now for the exciting bit, we're going to roll some dice, starting with a constitution check. My base is 5 books, and I'm going to see how many more or less than that I need to read this month. I am going to roll this with a d12. This is one of the tweaks that I need to make. I would like to change the constitution roll to be with a d20 so it makes a bit more sense with the game. I have rolled a 10, that is plus 2 books, so the dice wants me to read 7 books in July. To be honest, it's not bad, even though I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. It isn't going to be difficult to actually do 7 if I read shorter things and if I read comics and all of that, and I do have a bunch of shorter things that I need to read. It's also always one of my strategies for getting out of a reading slump to read shorter things so that I can get that nice feeling of having finished something more often. So I will have to make sure not to put only long novels on my TBR like I did in May. Next up, I'm rolling for initiative. Again, I have a base of 5 prompt. I'm rolling this with a d20, and the way that I've got it worked out right now, it's weighed quite heavily in favor of me having to do more than 5 prompts because I think it's fun to roll for prompts. Let's actually roll. Let's hope I get it on camera this time. This is a 6. So in my table, a 6 is no change. So that's 5 prompts. So we are going to roll 5 more times for deciding what books I read. As I mentioned, I've got all my reading prompts in random encounter tables. So I'm going to be rolling 2 d10s, a regular one and then a percentile die, to give me a number from 1 to 100 to pick from in the list. And then I've also got a d6 to pick between the 3 random encounter tables that I've got. So on a roll of 1 and 2, we go to the first table, 3 and 4 the second one, 5, 6 the third one. Pretty basic. So let's get started with our first roll, and that is number 18 in the third table, which is read a book with white on the cover. Let's see, white on the cover. I think I might go for Get a Life Chloe Brown. I think the cover of that is white, but I'm gonna double check. Yeah, definitely Get a Life Chloe Brown has a white cover. This is a romance novel I've been meaning to read for ages, and romance novels for me work super well to get out of reading slumps, because I find a lot of the time they read super quickly and I never want to put them down. It's about a young woman called Chloe Brown who is chronically ill, and she has this near-death experience that makes her want to kind of shake up her life a little bit. She moves out of her parents' place and gets an apartment of her own, and the superintendent of like the building is the hot guy on the cover, basically. So it's a romance between her and this guy called Red, and she has a list of things that she wants to do, I think, where she's gonna like tick off all these cool experiences. So I'm really looking forwad to that one. It's also read by Adjoa Ando. The audiobook is read by Adjoa Ando, who is my favorite audiobook narrator, so I'm super excited to read another book that she like narrates into my ears. That is my first pick, and now let's do another roll. Can you see that? That's a 40. So that is 49 in the third table again. 49 in the third table is read a book with orange on the cover. So for this one, I might have to think a little bit. I mean, to be fair, I'm just going to look at my Audible library and my SCRIBD library, because I would like to pick audiobooks for these things and try and pick shorter things as well. And I don't have that many short things on my physical TBR. It's a lot of novels on there. I think I'm actually gonna go with Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin. This is a short story, I think, or novelette. I don't actually remember the exact length, but I know it's one of the short works that's on the Hugo ballot this year, and I'm not gonna manage to read as much as I would like to from the ballot, obviously, because it is getting closer now. But this one is so short. It's only like an hour and 5 minutes, the audiobook for this. It's also read by Jason Isaacs, which is very exciting. Looking forward to that. It's not massively orange, but it does have some orange on the cover, so I think that definitely counts. Now for prompt number 3, we've got, I don't know if you can see all of that, but that's number 33 again in the third table, which is read a YA contemporary. Going to go straight to Audible and SCRIBD again, because I can tell you that I don't have YA contemporaries on my actual physical shelves. It's just not something that I buy a lot physically. So let's see what I've got saved on there. So what I've learned in the last 10-15 minutes of looking through my Goodreads, my SCRIBD, my Audible is I don't actually like have a lot of YA contemporary that I have already like bookmarked and want to read. But the one thing that I really love that often ends up being a YA contemporary is books about fandom. Last time this prompt came up, I think I went with Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. That's a book about a young woman who's got a big following as an online gamer, and like some of the stuff around that, including a lot of harassment and stuff, and that would still be an option. I might still pick that up because I do have the audiobook of that, I think, on SCRIBD. However, it's a little heavy of a topic, so I'm going to pick a different fandom book for now. I'm going to have both of them as possibilities for this particular prompt. And that second book is What I Like About You by Marisa Cantor. This is about a young woman called Haley who has like an online best friend that she's definitely in love with, but she can't tell him who she is because she's like, he's so talented, and you know, online he knows me as this like book blogger extraordinaire, but he wouldn't like the real me. And then she moves to a new town and meets a new boy, and you know, I'm reasonably confident they're the same boy. I think it's going to be really sweet and really fun, and I just love a fandom book. What can I say? In this case, fandom I think is more like they're both very online. She is part of like the book community, which I don't think is a thing that I've really seen before in a book about fandom, so very interested in that. And he's also got a webcomic that he writes that a lot of people love, so I think those are the fandom aspects. Like, they're more of creators than fans. I'm sure they're fans also, but they are creators, which I think is going to be very, very interesting to read about. So that one I've also got as an audiobook on SCRIBD, and if you don't know what SCRIBD is, or if you're not on there yet, it's this subscription service where you can read and listen to ebooks and audiobooks as much as you want or as little as you want. It's like a subscription, so it's you pay per month rather than paying per thing that you read. And if you're interested in that, I've got a sign up link in my description box where you get some free reading time and I get some free reading time when you sign up. So it's not like a sponsorship, but I do get something if you use it. And now for our fourth roll, let's see what we've got. I'm not sure you can see that. It's a 1. We have 51 in the second table. Read a book for awards consideration. Interesting. Okay, so that's really easy because I've already got Emergency Skin by N.K. Jemisin on my list, and that is for awards consideration. There's also definitely loads of other books that I need to read for awards in terms of the BookTube SF Awards or the Hugos, so that one I'm not too worried about. I'm going to say it's a double up with the second prompt and is going to be Emergency Skin that counts, just so that I'm sure to fulfill this prompt. But honestly, even if it's not that one, it'll definitely be something else because I have many, many, many books that I need to read for awards. Let's do our final roll because my window for recording is coming to a close. So our final roll is going to be number 23 in the third table again. That is read a non-fiction book. So I've got a bunch of non-fiction on my list that I've added recently on my various lists on different websites. Obviously, with the increased focus that we've had recently on conversations about racism and anti-blackness that have been going on for a really, really long time, there's been a lot of recommendations of books that people can read to educate themselves. Non-fiction in particular has been in there quite a lot, so I do have a bunch of nonfiction that I've recently bookmarked for that reason, for educating myself. The one that I want to go for first is Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. The subtitle for this is Notes from the Women White Feminist Forgot, and it is about how mainstream feminism, the mainstream feminist movement, often focuses on increasing privilege for a few white women who are already quite privileged and doesn't actually focus on a lot of like pretty survival level stuff for a lot of women. I've heard a lot of amazing things about this book, and also Mickey Kendall reads the audiobook for this, which is something I always enjoy, to see the author narrating the audiobook. I follow her on Twitter and I really like seeing her posts, so I think this one is going to be really, really interesting. So that is my fifth roll and my fourth book, and that's basically it for this month's Read for Initiative. It's not as many books as I picked last month, but I do not think that is a bad thing by any mean. Let me know how you feel about the kind of more updated, cobbled together format at the beginning, and let me know if you've read any of the books that I'm going to be reading this month. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and that I mean, I know I was rusty, so I'm not gonna hope I wasn't too rusty, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check out a previous video on screen right now. And if you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button that's on my face for a new video from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.